You are hardworking. You are motivated. You are young geniuses. You are talented. You are loved, and you are the reason that we are here. Let's make it a terrific Yoga Tuesday. Tomorrow, once again, it's a red wrap.
Dawn Blackwell is the principal at Bob Mathis Elementary School in Decatur, Georgia, outside Atlanta. The way she describes it, the proud principal.
We want to create a safe space. Our belief is that children should be allowed to be children, especially at school. So I have kids who have some rough home lives, and they act a certain way when they're in their neighborhoods, but they understand that once you cross the thresholds of Bob Mathis Elementary School, there's a certain way that you maintain, that you act, that you respond, and in return, I offer you a safe space.
But appearances perhaps are slightly deceiving in the neighborhood surrounding the school.
We sit in an older neighborhood. It's an established neighborhood, but we sit among grandparents who don't have kids. So the kids that you actually see are parents who moved back home with their parents, and they brought the grandkids with them. So right now, I would say a third of our students are on affidavit, which means their parents don't own a home, they're actually living with someone else. And that doesn't include our homeless population, because we have several students that are classified as homeless too. We have students that have more life going on at young ages than sometimes we want to believe. So we had a student last year who, the first day he had a meltdown on the school bus. And then the second day, he took a banana out of the cafeteria. Okay, something's going on. And that day he told us that the U-Haul pulled up to his house and they had to go to the hotel, and he was withdrawing from our school because his mom didn't know where they were going next. Well, if you put that into the mind of a first grader, that's a lot of stress. That's a lot of stress for grown people. So how do I expect a first grader who doesn't know where his next meal is coming from or where he's going home to this afternoon when he gets off the bus to be able to sit and focus on the academic side of what we're trying to teach? So those are the stories that we encounter. And unfortunately, it's not a 1 out of the 13 that we serve. It's different stories for a lot of our kids.
Yet the principal, teachers, and staff are helping students, their families, perhaps the entire community, write new stories. Stories that stretch their growing bodies, open their minds, nourish their spirits.
All right, so we're going to practice a sequence that will help us anytime we feel kind of worried or we're unable to focus. It's a different sequence than that we did last time. What I want for you is to be able to feel inside what's going on.
Cheryl Crawford was invited in by the principal to help write those new stories. She was a classroom teacher, reading specialist, and a curriculum coordinator in public schools for 11 years. She's also a yoga instructor, an instructor of yoga instructors, and the creator of a curriculum for taking yoga into the classroom.
I think in the school system, it just went too far to one side with the testing and the logic and the reasoning. And I think the social emotional skills and the how to regulate and all that was not being taught, those skills. And so we're finding so many children are having social and emotional issues, as well as not knowing how to regulate themselves and not knowing how to express themselves, and a lot of anxiety and anger. Stretch your arms out. It's going to help you with anger.
But the story of how yoga became part of the culture at Bob Mathis Elementary started not with the students, but with an end of the school year gift of a class from the principal to the staff. A gesture of gratitude for all they do, day in, day out.
And it was really, really well received, and the teachers are just open-hearted, open-minded, and we're up for anything.
Thursday, too cool to bully. Wear your sunglasses tomorrow.
And so she told the teachers, if you'd like yoga in your school, come to a meeting. And so almost all of them, except for I think two classrooms are receiving yoga instruction once a week. And I asked them what their needs are. And so the teachers told me they want their kids to focus, that a lot of the children are angry, some of them are sad, some of them have anxiety. Stretch up. Bring your hands out, one hand to one anchor point, the other to the other.
Yoga then became part of class time, not an after-school add-on, not part of PE.
I love it. I know a lot of my children have anger issues, or some might not focus well, and I have noticed a big difference with it, especially on yoga days.
Tia Klontz teaches 3rd grade.
Usually I don't tell them. They ask me, Ms. Klontz, is today a yoga day? Is it yoga day? And I know when the yoga instructor comes, they're so excited. They all participate. It's like quiet and everybody's in unison. It's awesome.
I believe that we need to try something different. I believe that our students deserve to be exposed to something new. And I know yoga is something very new for our students. But I believe that it will give them options on how to handle different emotions. Because one of the things that we're finding is that the academic progress has nothing to do with the intellect of the student. It actually has to do with some of the other barriers and things that they face in their lives, that they can't master a standard when they're worried about things that are going on at home. So we're trying to introduce techniques to help them focus a little bit more in school.
As part of the yoga program, staff, teachers, and students regularly provide input.
So you'd like a meditation corner over there for the children to come?
Yes, just so that they can learn techniques to calm down, so we can figure out what the problem is before we reintroduce them back to their classrooms.
Yeah, I love that. So they can take a time to breathe, and then they can respond instead of react.
Mm-hmm. And what we found is that if you try to approach a child when they have just had a meltdown, communication usually doesn't happen. It takes them a minute to actually calm down, get themselves together to be able to have a conversation about why they did what they did, what they did, and then for them to actually be able to tell you what they did wrong and how they can handle situations differently.
Yeah, what they can do with that energy. We even have a pose called Calm Down, where they actually get to be down on the back and they get to take all that anger inside of them, not use their mouth, but all the anger that's in their body, and use their hands and use their feet. So we'll have to put a mat over there too, because sometimes before they're breathing, they have to just get that energy out and ground it down. So I'm looking forward to helping you create a space over there.
Okay.
All right, so what is it that you want to learn?
I want to learn more things in yoga, so I'll be like an expert.
You want to be an expert in yoga?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think that will give you if you're an expert in yoga?
It will give me more confidence in myself.
You want more confidence. Okay, you want to cultivate that? Okay. What do you want to learn?
I want to learn how to do more yoga stance, to get more flexible.
You want to be more flexible physically? So physically you want to be more flexible. How about emotionally? Anything you want to work on? Well, confidence.
Kason Blakely and Hilton Bing are 10 years old and in 5th grade at Bob Mathis Elementary.
Working with your emotions. Like, is anger bad?
No.
No. What element is it?
Fire.
Fire, right. So you can transform anger to action to get things done.
Did you ever do yoga before Miss Cheryl came to your classroom?
No, not ever.
So what'd you think of it?
I think it like when I get angry, it helped me.
Tell us about that. What happened, or how does it help you?
It helps me because I do fairly bad things. Like if I get angry, and she taught me how to do great stuff when I get angry instead of doing bad things.
So what do you do? I want to learn too.
I take deep breaths. Sometimes I use this, or I do this thing though when I put my leg on my knee and use my fingers, all of them.
So what did you think when they said, "Oh, we're going to do it in class"?
I was happy because I knew it was fun, doing yoga and stretching, because I like being active a lot.
And do you notice a difference, not just in the way you feel before or after you do yoga, but in your whole class? Do people kind of change, or?
Yes.
How so?
They change because some of them, they got attitudes when they get in trouble or they do something, but now they don't really do that much.
We did the tree thing, and we had to put our hands on our stomach and our head and to relax more, and we had to stomp to get out all the anger.
And do you have a favorite pose or thing to do? Because the nose thing, I don't know.
I think stomping was the fun, because everybody was just stomping, and then it was fun.
And what about you? What did you say you do? You talk?
Oh yeah, I talk a lot.
What do you think? What element you think that is? Earth, water, fire, air?
Air?
Air, yeah. So you can do something with that too. We can work on that.
Kaysen says that practicing yoga has already helped.
When people are next to me, when I'm done with my work, I talk to people, and so that's why I got in trouble a lot in class.
Interesting. So, so after doing yoga, you didn't feel like you had to chat, but you were just calmer?
I was calm because, I felt better to just calm down, to take breaths when I want to talk, because I know I'm going to get in trouble when I'm not supposed to, so I just take breaths when I'm not supposed to talk.
That yoga tends to calm kids down. It's something teachers notice too.
When the yoga instructor comes in there, it's silence, and you can hear everyone breathing. And I know one day we were coming from specials, and we went to the restroom, and it was kind of chaotic in the hallway, and she just had my class line up, and they were just breathing in the hallway while everything else was around being chaotic. They were just breathing, standing in their line. So I've noticed it, but I don't think that they realize what's going on.
Vivian Florence teaches kindergarten.
Before the instructor came, I was doing some breathing exercises with my class. And when Miss Blackwell said, we're gonna have yoga, I was like, I'm excited. I want my kids to get a lot of techniques and learn how to relax and focus. So I was excited about, yoga coming into the school.
So walk me through a class, what happened
when the instructor comes in, the kids, it's Miss S. So they want to get to the rug, they finishing up their work, they get into the rug, they're sitting, and they know to go to easy pose first. So they go to easy pose, and they're very cooperative. They they want to learn it.
What's easy pose?
Just crisscross applesauce.
She notices a difference in her students as well.
They listen a little more, follow directions a little better. So yeah, I could see the results from doing it.
Ayanna Pope teaches special education students, preschoolers to kindergartners.
When Cheryl came, she used a feather to show them exactly how to breathe, which helped. She allowed them to put their arms up so they could stretch. She showed us some things to do with their legs, so things like that, physical exercises. I've observed we're able to calm them a little more quickly than usual. As far as when we see them uncomfortable, we can automatically know what stretches to use on what areas. When one of my students is frustrated, she associates this feather activity she did with Cheryl. So I see her, she's telling me she needs to breathe, she needs a break from the work or whatever we're doing. It's motivational because you realize that they've been through more surgeries than you can count. They are little survivors, stuff people don't go through until they're in their 70s and 80s, they've already experienced. Things with vision, hearing, and all kind of things with their body. So we just do the best we can to help them.
There are some things no one can take from me. My pride, my self-discipline, and my awesome dignity. Try to straighten your arms. Keep your front knee bent. Breathe out, lower down.
That yoga helps to calm students, even those with special needs, that it helps them focus and manage emotions like anger, are part of a bigger vision for Bob Mathis Elementary School. Dawn Blackwell, the proud principal.
I'm hoping that it will reduce some of the discipline problems that we have, because the kids will have different ways to let off some of that anger, and the faculty and staff will have different ways to provide consequences other than punitive consequences, because the whole point of discipline is to learn what you did wrong and how you can do it differently the next time. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to give you consequence after consequence if you never learn from your wrong behaviors.
Nice. Bring it back in. Bring your arms underneath your shin.
The former school teacher, now back in the classroom teaching yoga, Cheryl Crawford agrees discipline doesn't have to mean punishment.
They're seeing like, oh, there's another way besides shaming them too. Like that's what I always was interested to know. Is there another way besides shaming them? They get in trouble when they express themselves. Like, that's so interesting. Like when you're angry and you get in trouble for being angry, like, you know, like that's really interesting, or worried. So what if they like those were teachable moments as well? Like to me, we already have like information is very important, but we're overloaded with information. And so let's go back to wisdom. And how do you get wisdom? You have that awareness of your breath. And the deeper your breath, the longer your breath, it's going to be easier to focus and learn and be wise. Like tap into your intuition, tap into your inner knowing.
We are looking again at restorative discipline, where when a child breaks a rule, after they've calmed down, we can actually have a conversation on how they feel about what they did, why they did what they did, how the other person feels about what they did, if they offended, you know, a teacher or another student, and trying to get them to understand the feelings that go along with the actions, as opposed to just suspending or giving detention. If I can get a student to learn from the behavior, I'm less likely to see that behavior again. So we are working with the restorative discipline.
Beyond the supportive messages throughout the school, even a smiling portrait of the school namesake.
To help tune us in more is the sound of a singing bowl. So inhale to prepare to listen. Exhale to get more settled in your feet and your seat.
Each classroom has a singing bowl.
They use it to tune in and to listen, to practice their listening skills, because what the teachers and the children said is that they have excessive talking and like thinking, well, what does that mean? well, maybe we're not listening as much as we could. We're just talking too much. So the singing bowl helps you really listen, helps tune us in, and to listen to the sound, the sound reverberates. So when it stops, and children can hear it even longer than we can sometimes. So
there are some things no one can take from me.
Even the principal's office is being transformed as part of a shift in the school culture.
My pride, my self-discipline, and my awesome dignity.
We want a meditation space. Again, once we go through these things with kids, they have to internalize it in order to make it their own, in order for them to practice when I'm not around or when their teacher is not around. So if I can get them into the habit of, I had an issue inside of my classroom, I am upset, I'm on 15 and the scale stops at 10. I know that I'm coming into this office, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna go through the practice that I've been taught, I'm gonna bring it all the way back down, and then we can learn, and then we can move forward, and then we can reintroduce you back to your class. So our goal is to not put students out of school, but teach them how to deal with issues and keep them in school.
And how do your teachers feel about this?
My teachers are excited, but I do have one of the best staffs in the world. So they're willing to follow my lead off the path. So when I initially started with, hey, let's bring yoga, everybody was like, yeah, let's try it. If it's gonna work, let's do it. If it's good for the kids, let's go for it. So my teachers are on board. They're pretty excited. This has never been done on this end of the county before, so we're excited.
Yeah. I'm so glad to bring it to this end of the county, and love that you said, bring it on. Yeah. We even have a post called Bring It On, too.
Because we want our children to be able to de-escalate situations in real life. We don't want them to, I guess, react in a way that gets them in further trouble. Learn how to be able to step away from what's ever going on and be responsible for you. And if you're breathing in your right mind, if you know, okay, I need to step back, then they can take it further in the right way.
We are quite familiar with the school to prison pipeline. We are quite familiar with prisons being built based on scores for elementary schools reading. We are completely clear on that. But again, that is the model that we've been given, and it's our job to come up with a model that keeps our kids out of that particular model. So one of the things, we actually talked about it as a staff during pre-planning. We talked about the school to prison pipeline and what we were going to do different to make sure that our kids don't end up on that path. And one of the things that we have committed to is to make sure our kids are reading by 3rd grade. And if they aren't, then we have a plan in place to help them, and we've identified the problems to why they aren't reading. Because again, by 3rd grade, they're building prisons based on those test scores. So if I can get their test scores higher, that's one less room you have to worry about, especially for a Bob Mathis student.
To help keep kids out of prison, teachers are challenged to think outside the box.
Like last year, we did a school-wide field trip to the circus just to get the kids exposed. And we had not one discipline issue. We had a perfect field trip for all of our students. We had a book character day, which was the first time, where we took every single child in our building. Each class studies a book, and then we do a school-wide parade around our campus, and then they do activities based on the book. So we're trying to get our teachers out of the traditional sit still, child sit still, I'm gonna talk at you type of instruction. So they're coming around.
My hope is that we can provide yoga where it is wanted. And almost every day I receive an email or a call from a school asking how they can get it. So I wanted them to, especially in Atlanta, like that's my hope, is that whoever wants it can get it. And then from that yoga, from that awareness, 'cause that's what yoga does, is it gives you that awareness that the children and the classroom teachers and the parents, the administrators have those skills to have those conversations that are not easy to have. So that to me is how we can start to really work on some of the healing that needs to take place in Atlanta. What do you want physically? Like flexibility, balance, strength?
Balance.
Balance.
Crawford has also started training kids to lead yoga classes for their peers. That's something that appeals to Kason Blakely.
Yes, I would probably try and do it.
How come?
Because I like teaching new things to other people. Like teaching things to my friends.
I'm steady. I'm ready. I'm clear. I face fear. All right, thumbs up, full breath.
Kason says he wants to grow up to be a pro football player or basketball player or a rapper. Hilton Bing is leaving her options open.
I have a lot of things that I want to be, but it's hard to like pick which one I want to do.
So what do you think? What's on the list?
A doctor, like a coach for like cheerleading or something. Might be a dentist. A neonatologist is when you take care of the babies when they're not like with their parents.
How did you decide? I'm seeing, a couple of these are doctor related. What inspired you to want to do that?
Because I watch like a lot of doctor shows and I love babies.
I am hoping that our students and our teachers will be able to pull from something other than what we've always been given. I'm hoping that they can learn techniques and things in elementary school that will carry them through the rest of their lives.
Look at your thumb. Look in the distance. Excellent. Breathe in, unravel, stretch your arms up. Breathe out.
I think it's going to turn the school around. I really do. I think it's going to put the kids on the right track.
We teach kids how to live, how to survive, how to behave, how to deal with emotions. We teach beyond the curriculum because we understand that just teaching the curriculum is not going to help our kids to be completely successful as well-rounded people for the long haul.